A lot of commercials in the 1990s were both good and bad. Either way, many of them were memorable. However, it's been quite a while since we have seen them. In this video, we will have a look back on some of the 90s television commercials that you may have forgotten about. In the 90s, you had no choice but to watch television with commercials. The only exception to that would be if you recorded your own shows and then watched them later. But for the most part, we watched them. Some of the most aired ones were the AOL commercials that seemed to come on 50 to 100 times a day. They made it sound so easy and fun. At one point or another, we all gave in and tried it out. Remember the Pizza Head show commercials? This was a series of television ads that was used by Pizza Hut from 1994 to 1997. These were live-action commercials that were used to help promote new menu items. The main characters were a slice of pizza named Pizza Head and his nemesis Steve, who was a pizza cutter and tried to cause him as much harm as possible. 7-Up got in on the commercials with the Cool Spot, which was their mascot. He made his first appearance in 1987, but ran really strong in the 90s until 1997. Cool Spot did not talk, but he did communicate through some high-pitched noises. Not only were there commercials, but Cool Spot also had his own video games on the computer, Sega, and Nintendo. Most kids in the 90s might not have even known who the Jeffersons were unless they watched them as reruns on Nick at Night. Even still, there were a lot of choices, and the odds were still pretty thin that anyone knew them if they were a 90s kid. However, they may remember the stars of The Jefferson Show, both Isabel Sanford and Sherman Hemsley, playing their old characters in Old Navy commercials. For a while, it helped keep the Jeffersons relevant. The first Energizer Bunny commercial aired in 1988, but it certainly didn't stop in the 90s. They kept going and going and going until we all got tired of them. And then they still kept going. Funny thing is, bunnies were first used in a Duracell commercial, and the Energizer Bunny was sort of a parody of them. These commercials ran so much that soon everyone thought of the bunny as just being Energizer. The 90s commercials usually were advertising some fake product when the bunny would then start marching through and interrupting the commercial. If you watched Nickelodeon in the 90s, then you definitely saw some of the commercials for Marvin's Magic Drawing Board. They always aired with a 1-800 number urging kids to call and order one, with parents' permission of course. These magic boards are still available today, but when is the last time that you saw a commercial? The Puttermans were a fictitious family that appeared in a series of Duracell commercials from 1994 to 1996. They were plastic robots that outlasted others thanks to their Duracell brand batteries. Duracell had hoped to combat the Energizer Bunny with this ad campaign. The fictional brand X Other battery was made to look like Energizer batteries. However, this creepy-looking family just didn't last. Speaking of Duracell, remember the AA battery commercials that had the power check on them? They made it look so easy, but when you bought them, you realized it took a lot more effort to make that power check work. Sometimes it would even hurt your fingers. Another commercial that you couldn't get away from in the 90s was the free money guy that always dressed like the Riddler. That guy's name is Matthew Lesko, and he's an American author that became known for his publications and infomercials on federal grant funding.
The call is free and the book is guaranteed. So call me. You have nothing to lose and a whole new life to gain.
Call 1-800-306-5200. That's 1-800-306-5200.
Herbal Essences shampoo has been around for a while, but the 90s commercials were a bit of an attention getter to say the least. They depicted women who were practically having orgasms right there in the shampoo aisle. These were the type of commercials that you were embarrassed to watch in front of your parents or kids.
Yes! If you think that's great, try the body wash.
Clairol's Herbal Essences, a totally organic experience.
The Ouija board is a game that goes back to the late 1800s, but Parker Brother released the game and tried to normalize it even back in the 1970s. The 90s saw a lot of commercials that were aimed at making it look fun, although most parents didn't want their kids tampering with the supernatural. The 1990s was full of commercials that were just begging for you to call in. Who could ever forget the Miss Cleo commercials that were urging people to have a tarot card reading? The later it was in the evening, the more you would hear,
"Call now and try it for free."
Some of the best beer commercials of all time were produced by Budweiser in the 90s.
Budweiser,
When the Budweiser Frogs aired in 1995 during the Super Bowl, everyone was talking about it, and they have gone down in history as one of the most iconic commercials. From there, they had a series of memorable commercials that all grabbed our attention. When the "What's Up" commercial aired, we all found ourselves saying that catchphrase, even if we did not want to.
What's that?
Supermodel Cindy Crawford starred in an iconic commercial for Pepsi in 1992. She made the drink look irresistible, but it was definitely the Pepsi can that people were focused on, right? After all, one of the kids in the commercial said, "Is that a great new Pepsi can or what?" The Taco Bell Chihuahua commercials aired on television in 1997 and continued for about 3 years. The dog was cute and the catchphrase got us all.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
Some of the commercials in the 90s were a little strange, and a perfect example of that were the ones for Betty Crocker's Gushers. These were fruit snacks that were bursting with fruit flavor, and when kids ate them in the commercial, it changed their heads into giant fruit. The decade also had its share of super corny commercials, like the "I Can't Believe It's Butter" commercial. I guess it was aimed towards women who loved romance novels because it featured Fabio, who made his appearance on several of those. You may not have been a fan of pro wrestling during the 80s or 90s, but I'm sure that you still recognize this guy. The Macho Man Randy Savage was donning fancy outfits and crashing through walls like the Kool-Aid Man, encouraging kids to snap into a Slim Jim. Like it or not, this one got into your head.
Step into a Slim Jim.
A tagline that became super popular thanks to its commercials was, "Beef, it's what's for dinner." Soon dads everywhere were saying this to their kids, thinking that they had something original and funny, but it wasn't. However, the commercials couldn't be more cool. They were narrated by Robert Mitchum and had a great Western theme song in the background.
Dinners have at least one thing in common. Beef. It's what's for dinner.
Another ad that got stuck into your head was from the restaurant Chili's. Remember this one?
Hey man, my girl left me. Could you send out a tune?
I want my baby back, Chili, baby back, red. Chili's baby back, red. Barbecue sauce. I got my baby back, red.
You can thank me later for getting this one stuck in your head again. This was so popular that it even made its appearance in Austin Powers. The Simpsons hit the ground running in 1989, and they became insanely popular during the 90s. Bart Simpson became the poster child for Butterfinger and his famous catchphrase,
Nobody better lay a finger on my Butterfinger.
Today we are almost 25 years removed from the 1990s. That's hard to believe, but these commercials will live on forever thanks to them being uploaded on YouTube. Are there any commercials out there that I've missed? Or perhaps you would like to share your favorite commercial of all time? Let us know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching.